they're just throwing somebody else in there to create division. It's more of the divide and conquer mentality.
Right.
And they're hoping that they'll be able to split everybody up and draw people away from the Ron Paul vote, because I believe that they are afraid of Ron Paul.
They are. They're definitely afraid of Ron Paul. And as well they should, because he has a message that actually makes sense. You know, a lot of people tell me, and I've heard numerous talk show hosts say the same thing when they say that, well, you know, he's got a good message, but his foreign policy sucks. Well, why does it suck? Because he wants to pull all our troops back? And then they say, well, he's an isolationist. He's not an isolationist. It's not about being an isolationist. It's about trading with everybody, but be allies with none, kind of like our founding fathers talked about in the beginning. When you start to ally with people in other countries, then you start to take on their baggage. And now we've got the world's baggage. Well, let's just say the quote-unquote Western baggage. That's what we have. And it's kind of taking us down a road of financial ruin. So all he's saying is, let's go back to that same type of mentality where we're not the world's quote-unquote policemen. And then, you know, the argument is, well, then how do we protect our interests overseas? Well, last time I checked, we still have one of, if not the most powerful Navy on the face of this planet. We also have a contingent of Marines that can pretty much go anywhere at the drop of a hat, if need be. Not to mention the fact that we don't exactly fight wars anymore with people. The wars are fought pretty much without firing a doggone shot these days. There are weapon technology out there that blows my mind that we have absolutely no idea how it works, yet it works and it exists. The fact of the matter is that conflicts are not fought the traditional way that we think about them being fought, or we envision them, or the way that we've seen them in the history books. It just doesn't happen that way anymore. And if it does, it's few and far between. The fact is that we can do exactly what Dr. Paul's saying, and do it effectively and do it well, and reduce the amount of money that we spend. And yeah, would it suck in the short term? Yeah, there'd be a lot of difficult things and a lot of adjustments that people would have to make to their way of life and the way that they conduct business. Everything would change if he was allowed to be able to make the changes, and if the Congress would go along with it. Yeah, absolutely. That first year or two, it would really stink for a lot of people to make that adjustment. But in the long run, things would be okay. We would emerge as stronger people. We would actually once again become one of the if not the most successful countries in the world. That's what made us so great. It's not the last 100 years that have made us so great. It was those first 120, 150 years that made us great. After that, it's been kind of a downhill slide. I mean, we're really at the precipice. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, after the central bank took over, that's pretty much where we all started to slide, because the American people didn't heed the words of our forefathers that warned us what would happen if the central banks took hold of this country.
That's right.
And where are we today? Millions of people getting their homes foreclosed on, living under bridges and in cardboard boxes, being lied to by our I don't want to say elected officials. Come on, let's get real here. They're appointed. Why do they go to the Bilderberger meeting? Anything about congressmen? You're appointed. Your mayor, your local delegates. Yeah, you might elect those ones because they're meaningless. Who cares about them? But your senator and your president, they're appointed. They're groomed, and then they're appointed. Let's get real here, folks.
What's your thoughts, Gwen?
Well, I think Ron Paul scares the powers that be because he had a message and people heard it. Mm-hmm. And in one day, Ron Paul didn't ask for it. People asked for it, and they did a money bomb, and they raised over $6 million. The threat that Ron Paul poses to the powers that be is he doesn't do the divide and conquer. The people just came together over his message. So he's totally contrary to their agenda. He can pull the people together, and the people drew themselves together and started networking nationwide. And so that's a threat. Our foreign policy, it sucks. Our military-industrial complex is the biggest, bloated, fattest, most worthless expenditure of money on our budget, second only to all the departments that Janet Napolitano is the head of now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I think when we look at candidates, you know, I listen to Kane, and I think he's got a good message, but he's just another voice box.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
He's just those are his platform points. That's who he is. You know, I ran for state senate, and I've been an elected official, so I have a little bit of a different perspective about what happens in government because I've been there. You know, and you go in thinking that you're really going to make a difference and you're going to make a change, and I don't care how much integrity you have. You go in, every issue that comes up, you have one say, and you have one vote. And when you have your say, it's going to have to be really powerful, really researched, so that you sway the minds of all of the other people that have to vote on that issue. And the larger the group of people that you have to sway, the less likely it is that your message is going to be heard and move anybody. Because you've got the lobbyists talking in both ears in every other orifice that they have, and what orifices they're not talking in, they're cramming money in.
Yep.
So, you know, we really don't have, we really don't, I mean, somebody really might be honest and might really want to do the right thing, but they can go time and time again and vote the Constitution down the line every single time and be for the people and the Constitution, and their vote, they could just flush it down the toilet because nobody else that votes with them is voting for the Constitution. This two-party system is not working. And to my knowledge, there's never been a country or an empire that had a fiat currency that survived. It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. It most certainly doesn't work. And you know, Quiet Bear in the chat room just said, as FDR said, nothing in politics happens by accident. And she said, when Ron Paul was made head of the committee that's supposed to watch the Fed, he did nothing, just lip service. This whole system is rigged. They know who they will place as president decades in advance. And in some aspects, you know, I do think they do groom people for that type of thing. Now, with Dr. Paul, I don't know if it's because of his demeanor or what happens in those committees that actually cause that roadblock to occur. What I can say though is, out of all the people out there, he's probably the best shot we've got. And this is the last shot he's got. After that, I mean, it's onwards to other people. Now, we've seen a lot of good things in the last couple of years take place. Heck, the creation of the Tea Party. And then not soon after that, we saw the hijacking of the Tea Party. And now the Tea Party...
Yep,
well, the two-party
system. The two-party system is never going to allow integrity. They are never. I mean, I got a letter from the Republican Party, the National Republican Party, wanting me to make a donation, and I wrote them back a letter, and I told them that I would never contribute another dime to the Republican Party after the way that they treated Ron Paul.
Right.
And he was the only viable candidate that we had that could have beat Obama. And like Quiet Bear said, they already know who's going to be president. That's why they did it, because they didn't want Obama beat.
That's right. They didn't want Obama beat.
That's why our choice was Obama or Oh Stupid.
Oh Stupid, and then his vice president, Oh Stupider.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, because honestly, Gwen, when you saw that happen, right now, don't get me wrong, I think McCain is a piece of work, and I'll put it at that just to be polite. But when you saw who he picked for vice president, what went through your head at that point? I mean, really, because I know what went through my head, and it was, you can't be serious. Are you serious? I mean, this is ridiculous.
What I said, as soon as I saw that is I went, oh my God, the cartoon has come to life.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It's a cartoon.
Now, folks, the 9 o'clock drawing is coming up. So the idea is anybody that's a guest right now that's listening to the show live, if you register for an account on Blog Talk Radio, your name will be entered into the drawing. So register your name so that John can put it in the or on the wheel, and then our drawing's coming up in a couple of minutes. Let's take a break right now, and when we come back, we'll have the drawing. So sit tight, stay tuned, and we'll be right back.